Hey guys, it's Coach Carrie, and today we're going to be talking about inflammation, and that's kind of where my journey to health really began. Now, I've been a nurse since the 1900s, long time now, and I've always been thin. I will say that I actually weigh probably 13 pounds less now than what I did when I graduated high school, which is crazy to think because that was a long time ago. But when I started my journey 10 years ago, I was 37 years old and I literally felt like a 97-year-old. Now, I felt like I was living a healthy lifestyle. I was actually teaching exercise classes. I didn't need to lose weight, but it was the simple things in life that I could no longer do. So I've got 3 kids, and my youngest, Carter, he was 3 years old, and I literally could not pick him up, especially in the evenings, unless I was right by the sofa, because I was scared to death that I was going to drop him. Not because I didn't have the strength, but because my wrist hurt so bad that it scared me, that extra pressure and pain that I was having when I'd go to lift him, that I would end up dropping him. Another pain that I would experience is walking across my den floor, either early in the morning or late in the evening. I felt like I had lightning bolts in my ankles. Now, I was still teaching exercise classes. I've been teaching exercise classes for about 17 years, so it wasn't that I wasn't doing the right things, or at least I thought. But my problem came with what was I eating. I had a lot of sugary foods, a lot of dairy, a lot of breads, and those were my staples. I had my pasta. I had all the things that everybody else had. When I changed my eating habits and I started taking the proper supplements, that's when my body started healing. It took me probably 2 or 3 weeks, and honestly, it wasn't something that I was looking for. It was one of those things where I was taking, ibuprofen or Tylenol, probably 3, 4 times a day. My liver test had gone up because of that, but I was taking it all the time because my body constantly hurt. And it was literally one of those things where I changed my foods. I was going on the food list that is in the Slenderized Drops, and I had changed my supplements. So my body started getting the nutritional help that it needed to get. And it was probably 2 or 3 weeks later, and I was, it was one of those aha moments. I moved my wrist and I'm like, I haven't had any Tylenol in the last few days. Oh, okay. And then I realized I had been picking up Carter and I had not been standing by the sofa. And I was like, oh, my body really does feel better. So that was my aha moment. And that kind of began my journey because, like everybody else, I jumped off the bandwagon. Don't say that you haven't, right? And when I jumped off the bandwagon, what happened? My pain came back. I started feeling sluggish. My inflammation was out the wazoo. Those were things that I found that, okay, is these extra foods that I had been putting in my body, even though they taste really good, is it really worth it? Is it really worth me feeling terrible for days afterwards? And then I started teaching classes in a program that we had called the Next 56 Days, and it was teaching other people, what do you eat? What do you eat to get healthier? So today we're going to be talking about inflammation. I'm going to just kind of go over some things because a lot of people don't realize what inflammation is actually linked to. But diabetes, Alzheimer's, obesity, allergies, that is linked to inflammation. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, asthma, cancers, heart disease, arthritis, all of that is actually a form of inflammation. One of the things that I used to really deal with was my allergies, and I was constantly taking an antihistamine. Well, some of the worst and most common side effects to antihistamines, and if you're one of those people who you take them daily, you probably have noticed this, but you can't see, you can't pee, you can't spit, and you can't poop, okay? So those are actually very common. So I actually ended up taking Venali, okay? Venali is one of our supplements, and I am going to be telling you some of the tools that I personally take. And to me, they're tools to my success, the success in my body to help me to feel daily healthy, okay? Just feeling better every single day. So the Venali is the one that I take. This has got grapeseed extract in it. I was actually introduced to Venali by accident. I was teaching a class, and my friend Steve, he had bought this table that we were using as a display. He had bought it at Goodwill, and it had one of those tables that like the legs go like this, you know what I'm talking about? And I couldn't get it to release. So finally I pulled and pulled and pulled, and it went bam, right across my nose. It broke my nose, okay? And a broken nose is a broken nose. But next thing I know, Steve is like literally shoving these things down my throat. And he's like, take the Phenolly. Dr. Strand says it's really good for inflammation. So I did. I think I took probably 8, 10. I'm like, I did a super dose of that for sure. But the next morning, even though I still had a broken nose, my swelling was gone. The bruising was gone. And it was also during the spring season. And that was when I was always dealing with a lot of allergies. Well, what I found out, even with a broken nose, is that my allergies were not so bad that season. And then doing more studies with Dr. Strand, I learned later on that this is great for allergies. It's great for your skin. There's so many health benefits to it, and I have been on it ever since. So, and sometimes, even with a broken nose, there are good benefits, especially if you find out the tools to your success. This is one of my go-tos. If I have someone who is dealing with allergies, that's the first thing that I recommend for them. If you have asthma, things like that with the lungs, because it's really healing for the lungs, I would definitely recommend it for that too. So, Phenolly is one of them. It's also got your vitamin C in there, so that's going to help with your skin. And a lot of people who are trying to release weight, they are concerned about their skin turgor, and this is actually going to help this, okay? Because it definitely helps with that. Good inflammation and bad inflammation. We have both, okay? So like if I go to exercise, I'm probably going to be sore the next day. That doesn't mean that it's bad inflammation, okay? But if I work out constantly and I never allow my body to heal, and then I start tearing muscles and having injuries, that's when that good inflammation ends up being bad inflammation. So like everything else that we do in life, this is all about your health. Now, let's think about your diet right now, okay? If you have good, healthy foods, and I'm talking about foods that are low glycemic and they're naturally anti-inflammatory, then those are the foods that are actually going to help heal your body, okay? It's going to help heal your gut, and that's where the majority of your immune system is actually found. But if I constantly put in processed, terrible foods in my body, how do I ever expect my body to heal? So that's why it's so important that when you are doing the drops here, and these are homeopathic, that you definitely need to be following the food list. In the Slenderize box, or booklet, I should say, it actually comes with a food list. So here's all of your foods. There is a video linked on what am I supposed to eat with the Slenderize system, so you can look that up. But it's literally your proteins, your vegetables, and your fruits. And these are your go-tos, okay? So stick with this food list because it's what's healing your body. So causes of inflammation, it could be a terrible diet, okay? If you're American, 99% chance you've had a terrible diet. What about your sleep? Are you sleeping well at night? I was not when I started this program 10 years ago. With my 3 kids, I was not sleeping through the night. I really don't think Carter started sleeping through the night until he was like 3 or 4, which meant if he wasn't sleeping, I wasn't sleeping. My husband had to travel a lot for work, and so he was out of town a lot. I was juggling a lot of stresses, new mom, you know, a lot going on. So I was not sleeping. Now, exercise, that can be a cause of inflammation, but there's a balance. Either too much exercise can cause inflammation. Also, not enough exercise can cause inflammation in your body. Have you ever just sat down and sat all day long, and then when you get up, you can't move at all? I have to keep on moving. That's one of the things that I do. Then you have pollution, and a lot of times people think that pollution is just on the outside, you know, like in the smog, but we don't realize that a lot of times the pollution is actually in our homes. So that could be with your candles, your fresheners that you're spraying all over the place. You know, there's other things that you can actually do to take away the pollution in your house. Cigarette smoke. Hopefully I don't have to tell you that you're probably not going to be the healthiest if you're smoking cigarettes, but that's definitely going to cause inflammation. And stress will cause inflammation. I'm very, very glad that bottle number 2 with your Slenderize drops, that actually works to decrease your stress levels because it's got ashwagandha in it. And so that is working to let your body naturally decrease your stress and your cortisol levels Okay. One of the other things that you may notice is that you may need to detox. And the detox that I recommend is the Restorix. So I find now that if my body ever starts aching, it's probably that my pH level is out of whack. And so I will start doing like a 7-day detox with the Restorix. And when I do that, typically within 2 days, it restores my pH levels back to where it needs to be, and my aches and pains go away. So I will typically tell everyone, like, when you're doing your detox with your Restorix, then do it like every time you've released 10 pounds, if you've hit a plateau, if you've been around sick people, like whatever it is, it's always good to do a detox. And the detox is literally safe enough where you can do it every single day. It's got charcoal in it, it's got chlorella in it. It literally goes through your body like almost like Pac-Man, and it just goes and it takes all the toxins, and then you poop it out with your waste. Okay, but it doesn't cause diarrhea or anything like that. Actually, the only thing side effect that I have personally noticed with the detox is that I sleep really, really good with it, and I will have very vivid dreams probably on night 2 or 3 when I take my detox. Other than that, it's all good. I also like the detox because you can do different things with it. So you can make a face mask with it. If you have like poison ivy or an insect bite or something like that, you can literally make a paste, because it's like charcoal, so it is kind of like a grayish black color, but make a paste with some water. So make a paste for a mask or a facial, but you can put it on insect bites and poison ivy or whatever you have. It will take the poisons out of it, the itchiness, and you can even put it on your toothbrush. And a lot of times we're seeing now you've got toothpaste that's got the activated charcoal in it. Well, it works as a natural tooth whitener or teeth whitener. Where would it be? I guess you got more than one tooth, hopefully. But you can use it for that too. So there's lots of different things that you can use the Restorix for. Now, I do want to tell you how you can actually defend yourself against the chronic inflammation. So as far as exercising is concerned, you definitely need to exercise. You know, even if it's only a 10-minute walk in the morning, evening, whenever, you know, take 3 10-minute walks. You know, if you do that 3 times a day, you exercise 30 minutes today. Congratulations. Sometimes you have to start small before you can build yourself up. But your goal is to really and truly work out or exercise about 30 minutes 5 times a week. Okay? Allow yourself 2 days just for relaxation and to let your body to repair. You also want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep. And I talked about that earlier. But you want to make sure that you have about 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And if you're not getting that, you're probably more prone to inflammation. You're also probably more prone to packing on that extra weight right there at your belly area. I will tell you one of the things that I use, and actually my sleep returned after 20 years. Oh my gosh, that's a long time. But after I started taking my drops, my sleep started becoming regulated again, and I sleep through the night. Now, if you are someone who you just cannot sleep at all, there is another product that I would recommend that you use, and it is called Renew. It comes in a little box like this, and you put it in your water. It actually helps to regenerate your own, there's no hormones in this, but it helps to regenerate your own HGH. It's your human growth hormone. And that is the hormone that that you start being depleted once you get in your 30s. By the time you're 50, you'll probably have about half or less of the HGH in your body left. But one of the things that I have noticed with the Renew is it definitely improves my cellular regeneration. So your skin, all that is better. The physical resilience is better. I wanted something that I could measure. So when I started taking the Renew, I teach spin classes, and I actually did a comparison of week 2, 3, and 4. And with each week, my endurance increased, my mileage increased, my power increased. And so I'm like, okay, now I really know that it is measurable and it's working within my body. So I love that. It does boost your energy and your stamina. It enhances your libido and sexual function. It reduces the body fat. So a lot of times people are using the Renew and the Slenderize together. And it definitely helps with the skin elasticity. People who are having hot flashes, I've had several people tell me that the Renew definitely helps with that. And again, the sleep has always been a big thing. So you take the Renew 30 minutes before you go to bed at night, and just take it with some water. It tastes really, really good. It's got a strawberry kind of kiwi berry flavor to it, and you just mix it with your water. Now, there are some people in the world who are weird. They say about 3% of the people it actually gives them energy. Well, I am one of those people. So I actually have to take my Renew in the morning instead of the evening. So if you are taking your Renew in the evening and you're like, I'm not sleeping, and Carrie said I would be, you're one of the weirdos like me. Sorry. So you might want to take yours in the morning. It took my body about 2 weeks to adjust to that, but there was a huge, huge difference with that. So one of the big things that I noticed when I started taking the Renew is the fact that when I get up in the mornings now, I just get up. And a few years ago, like when I get up, I would have to like walk around for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I would feel fine. Now I just get up and go. Okay. So if you're wanting to experience that, that might be a good tool for you to use. So foods that increase the inflammation in your body, anything that has sugar in it is actually going to increase inflammation. So a lot of times we don't realize all the different sugars that we're getting into our body. Just because you look at the label and it says sugar, there's other hidden sugars in there. So if it has anything that has like a starch or a whey or a rice, all of those become sugars in your body. Anything that ends in ose, like cellulose, sucrose, fructose, all those ose words, we always say ose is gross. Those are a big deal. Maltodextrin, it's a big deal, okay? So I used to tell my patients that were pre-diabetic or diabetic, I would tell them to stay away from their sugars and their rice and the white, breads, anything that was white and fluffy, it would increase their blood sugars. So they were doing that, but what I was not telling them, because I did not know, was to stay away from maltodextrin. So when we look at the glycemic index scale, and I tell you stay away from sugar, okay, I can stay away from sugar. I can look at labels. The sugar on that glycemic index scale is a 60, okay? Shame, okay? So I go to the grocery store. Carrie told me to stay away from anything that had sugar in it. So I buy me a little bag of sugar-free cookies because I'm still wanting my cookies. And I go home and I eat the whole thing because it has no sugar in it. So it's a healthier choice, right? So unfortunately, no. More than likely in that box of cookies, it probably has maltodextrin in it. I told you to stay away from the sugar. The sugar is going to be a 60. But when we look at the maltodextrin and the glycemic index scale, the maltodextrin is going to be 140. So it's actually increasing your blood sugars. So just be aware of the different ingredients that are in our foods. You can never go wrong by following the food list with the Slenderized drops because they're whole foods. The ingredients is what they are, okay? And if you're wanting to know how do I go to grocery shopping, I don't know how to find this food, yeah, it's easy. Shop the perimeter of the grocery store. It's literally going to be your proteins, your fruits, your vegetables, and you're out the door, okay? So you can do this, absolutely. Saturated fats, that's going to be another biggie that causes inflammation in your body. And a big part of that in our American society is pizza and cheese. So be careful with those. What about your common cooking oils? So there's a lot of them that are going to promote inflammation. Look at your salad dressings. Typically when you look at your salad dressings and you start looking at the ingredients on there, it's going to have the soybean oil. A lot of these foods have like vegetable or safflower seed oil, corn, sunflower oil. All of those are inflammatory. So my recommendation is to use the coconut oil instead. You can use the unrefined or the refined. The unrefined, the virgin coconut oil is always going to be a safer bet for you. And it's also shown to have anti-inflammatory studies. So that's the one I would definitely go with. Trans fats, they're going to be found to promote inflammation and obesity, a resistance to insulin in your body, an increase in bad cholesterol. A lot of you are dealing with that, an increased risk of heart disease. And any one of you who have diabetes or if you're pre-diabetic, once you become diabetic, you don't have just diabetes. You are automatically at increased risk for strokes and heart attacks and cancer. So it all goes together. So you really want to make sure that you have a healthier lifestyle, and that you're fixing and healing your body from the inside out. So my rule, trans fat, put it back. So start looking at those labels on there. It's typically going to be found in any of your deep fried foods, your fast foods. That's all of them, guys. Any of your commercially baked goods, so anything that you can literally like rip open the package and just eat it as processed, those are the ones that you probably don't want to eat. Your refined carbohydrates, this is a big deal. So your white flour products, like your breads, your rolls, your crackers, your white rice, your white potatoes, that's what everybody goes to. Yes, I eat my vegetables, it's always a white potato. Your cereals, all of these are not healing your body, okay? You want to use low glycemic foods instead. So oat flour it's a little bit higher on the glycemic index scale, but it would be a better choice. Almond flour, garbanzo bean flour, coconut flour, all of those are going to be fine. Use quinoa to replace your rice. You can also use like cauliflower, and just like I put mine in the food processor, hit the on button, and all of a sudden it's like rice cauliflower. That works out really well. You can use sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are actually in the slenderized list here. And all of those would be fine, and is going to help to balance your blood sugars, which is going to decrease your inflammation. Watch out for MSG. That's going to be in a lot of your prepared Asian foods, soy sauce, fast food, soup mixes, all those things can definitely increase your inflammation levels. Gluten and casein. A lot of people have allergies to both gluten and casein. Just because you go into the grocery store section though and you find something that is gluten-free, don't automatically assume that means it's healthy for you, because it's not most of the time. Sometimes it is, but again, you need to read the labels on that. But gluten's going to be found in wheat, rye, barley, any of the foods with those grains. I personally, when it comes to breakfast in the morning, I will be eating eggs with a good protein, may add some vegetables, some approved fruits to that, which would be my strawberries, my apples, my blueberries, keeping it simple like that. I also do the Pure Nourish shake as a meal replacement once a day. And this has got probiotics and prebiotics in it, so it's helping to heal my gut. And then I add the chocolate boost to it. I'll add the chocolate boost to it. This has got branched chain amino acids in it, and so it's increasing my muscle mass. And when you're releasing weight, you do not want to release muscle mass, okay? Because the higher your muscle is, it increases your metabolism. So you're going to be able to keep your weight off long term. So this is definitely a good tool for a meal replacement, especially if you're someone who skips meals a lot. You don't want to be skipping meals. You do not want to get to the point where your body goes into starvation mode. So that's a big deal. You do want to decrease the dairy in your diet. I know a lot of you have been on that keto diet and it's dairy. And guys, I like my cheese too. Actually, if I could be a mouse or a squirrel, I'd probably be happy, because as long as I had my nuts and cheese, I was a happy girl. However, when I took the dairy out of my diet, I found that my body was much, much happier. So 60% of the population actually cannot tolerate dairy. Either we have an allergy to it or a sensitivity to it, but it's so good that a lot of times we choose to ignore it. But what can it trigger? Stomach distress, constipation, diarrhea, skin rashes, acne, hives, breathing difficulties. All of that can be triggered with dairy. So you do want to limit or completely take out your dairy. And that does include your yogurt. I know, a lot of you tell me that. So instead of using cow milk, you can use any of the nut milks, okay? So your unsweetened almond milk, any of those are going to be fine. Just pay attention to those. I had a class a couple of years ago that I actually had several ladies in there, and I used them as guinea pigs. They knew they were going to be my guinea pigs, but I took away the dairy from them completely, okay? Because I used to say, well, if you only do just 1 ounce a day, it's all right. But what I was finding is they were not releasing their weight. So I made them raise their right hand They were very hesitant about it. And I said, okay, you have to promise me that you're going to go off of your dairy. And you're going to take your drops. You're going to follow the food list. And then let's see how we're doing. That next week, they had all released weight. By the end of an 8-week session, they were telling me that their bellies felt better. They were no longer bloated. Their digestion had improved. They weren't gassy anymore. Like, all of these things had happened, and it was because they were doing the drops, following the food list, and they were taking no dairy into their diet. It made a big difference. Aspartame. Aspartame is actually a neurotoxin, and it affects the brain. So if you are doing any type of diet drink, there's probably aspartame in it. You need to stay away from it, but it's actually in 4,000 different products. So yes, you need to be checking your ingredients. It can be in mints and gums and everything else, but your body looks at it as a foreign substance. And so anything that is foreign in the body is going to cause inflammation in your body. Alcohol it's a burden to the liver. So we do not do alcohol on our program, okay? Processed meats, that can cause inflammation. So switch to organic, free-range animal meats if you possibly can. That's always going to be a better choice for you. And then just know that the foods that are in the Slenderized booklet here, they are actually the actual same foods that are going to help with your inflammation levels. If you are, if you're getting bored with your food and you say, well, it's kind of plain and everything, don't be scared to add herbs and spices to it. Every single herb and spice out there has got a positive side effect to it. So when you look at herbs and spices, look at it as your pharmacy. And I'm saying F-A-R-M, okay? Because those are going to actually heal your body. So like cinnamon naturally balances your blood sugar. Garlic is really good for inflammation. I mean, it just goes on and on. You can actually use turmeric and black pepper and you have to add a healthy fat to it, so you can use avocado or coconut oil or whatever. But if you combine all three of those, it increases the properties of the turmeric, which is great for inflammation, by 2,000%. That's huge, okay? But it's really, you're looking for that chemical reaction between your foods, your spices. You're looking for the chemical reaction between the foods and the drops together. You're waiting for your body to heal from the inside out. There's also MOA, okay? So MOA, this is 36 superfoods. This helps with blood sugars, digestion, your immune system. It's good for circulation, energies, eyes, your joints. This helps to decrease your cortisol. It helps with skin issues. It's kind of spicy. I love it. Okay, so MOA is my friend. This MOA actually prevented me from having ankle surgery a few years ago. I used to take it a lot, and then I went off of it because I thought, I don't need it, you know. And I literally had I had so many issues with my ankle. I've got a weird feet, really weird feet, and they're really big too. It says 10.5 shoe. Really? Where did that come from? So anyway, I was in a boot. I had cortisone injections. I had physical therapy. I had MRIs. The next step was surgery, and they said that I would be non-weight bearing for about 3 months. Well, I don't have time for that. So I decided I would go back on the MOA because I used to be on it. So, you know, I guess I'll go back on it again. Within 2 weeks, my ankle was fine. It has been fine ever since. So MOA is definitely one of my favorites. It is a little spicy, so you know, sometimes you gotta put on your big girl pants, big boy pants, whichever ones you're wearing, and just take it up. But MOA is definitely one of my favorites for sure. All right, so that's all I've got for you today on inflammation. There's a lot of things that you can do to prevent your inflammation from increasing, and there's a lot of things that we can do just to help our bodies to completely heal. So inflammation was definitely one of my triggers. That's what I personally dealt with. So when everybody else talks about, oh, I lost 50 pounds and, you know, all these other things, you know, I can't show you a before and after picture of myself because besides my gray hair, I really haven't changed that much. Oh, and I got glasses too. But beyond that, I really haven't changed that much. But what if you could take a picture of the inside of me, my inflammation was terrible. So again, at 37, I felt like I was 97. Now that I'm 47, I feel like I'm 27. So I don't think that's a bad thing. All right, guys, if you have any questions, let me know. I've mentioned a lot of different products today, a lot of different supplements. I love them all. So if you're interested in any of those, please get with me and I will be glad to send you a discounted code, which will give you 15% off of it. But it's an amazing journey and I hope you're on this journey with me. All right, guys, until next time, make good choices.